Hello there. British Prime Minister Sunak is a multi-millionaire, but more and more wealthy individuals are leaving the UK. And that comes from a report. The winners of this development are Europe, Asia and the Middle East. That's where the wealthy are now drawn to. The UK appears to be losing its appeal to wealthy investors and also business people. According to a media report, a veritable flight of capital from the country began last year. In 2022, 1,400 people with assets of more than $1 million are said to have left the UK. This is reported by the British newspaper The Times, citing an investigation by the consulting firm Henley and Partners. Experts estimate that around 737,000 millionaires currently live in the UK. The recent exodus continues a trend that began shortly after the Brexit vote in 2016. Since then, an estimated 12,000 millionaires have left the island to settle elsewhere. According to the information, among them are dozens of well-paid bankers whose employers had relocated their jobs to continental Europe in the wake of Brexit. According to the assessment of the European Banking Authority, transfers from London are one of the main reasons why the number of European bankers with an income of more than 1 million euros per year rose by more than 40% in 2021, the newspaper further reports, and I talked about this yesterday already. Britain was once a magnet for the wealthy who favor the rule of law and relative political stability as much as light regulation. In addition, the time zone is almost ideal for doing business with employees and customers all over the world. But in the meantime, the disadvantages of British isolation seem to be having an impact. Now that the real longer-term consequences of Brexit are being felt, we are seeing an increased movement of wealthy British citizens looking to reclaim their EU status by gaining EU residency or citizenship through investment. That was said by Stuart Weekley, head of Henley and Partners London office. While world-traveling millionaires have historically settled in the UK, most are now looking to the Middle East and Asia. According to Henley and Partners, the United Arab Emirates saw the largest influx of high net worth individuals last year. Well, Brexit means Brexit, and it keeps circling. Ireland's Prime Minister, the Taoiseach Leo Varadkar, admitted on Friday that he regrets that the protocol for Northern Ireland and the Brexit negotiations with the government of former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson was agreed without a consensus between unionists and nationalists. I regret that Brexit was imposed on Northern Ireland without the support of the two communities, just as the protocol was imposed without that support. That's what he said in a statement released by the BBC, and I still disagree with him. He stressed that the European Union is ready to be flexible and reasonable in its negotiations with the UK in order to achieve broader support for Northern Ireland in the post-Brexit trade negotiations. But the protocol is not the real issue here, it's the DUP Varadkar. Varadkar, who has been Prime Minister of Ireland again since December last year, has nonetheless expressed hope that London and Brussels will reach an agreement before the anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement. I don't have that hope personally, by the way. Economically, the protocol works. There's no hard border between North and South. The integrity of the market has been protected, and Northern Ireland's economy outperforms that of the UK. But I can understand unionist politicians feeling that the protocol weakened the internal relations and union between Northern Ireland and the UK, he said. Well, who decided on Brexit? The protocol was drafted to allow Northern Ireland to remain in the European Common Market, but at the cost of imposing checks on trade with the rest of the UK and establishing a border in the Irish Sea, a move sharply criticised by unionists, although in the end it's a smokescreen. The UK government has threatened to challenge the deals unless the EU makes new concessions. Part of the Brexit aftermath is also that Ulster still does not have a viable, or that part of Ulster doesn't have a viable regional government. If London and Brussels agree on the Northern Ireland Protocol, new elections could become unnecessary. But I don't see both. I disagree with Varadkar. The EU is negotiating with the government of the whole country and not with state governments. Otherwise, they would have had to negotiate with Wales and Scotland as well. And the other thing is, I don't expect a proper solution until the anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement. And I'll see you in the next video. I'll be back.